Now, here are the lessons from online to TV. First one is lower the barrier of entry to television. It is simply too expensive to produce a television spot today. It used to be true that there was a big difference between spending $100,000 or $300,000 on a television spot. That is not the case really at all today. We know because at our television channels, we produce well over 100,000 spots a year on a fixed budget, and they work. Second lesson online could offer to TV is to find a way to address the individual home, which I know many companies are working on. But once you do that, don't squander that technical gold mine. There are at least 3 companies that I know are trying to address the individual home in television as IP internet advertising is addressable to each computer. It's going to happen this year. The lesson I think online could offer is once you get there, don't squander that gold mine by separating your inventory into branding and performance, for I believe at least that distinction is false. Even if not all advertising can brand, all advertising should perform. But more importantly, don't blindly outsource your pricing decisions to a computer model, let alone one that's run by somebody else, under the false comfort that the market will find the right price. As we have seen in the financial crisis, markets and computer models often can get things wrong. The final lesson is get all levels in the organizations interested in knowing whether the campaign works or not. One of the reasons why I thought it attractive to integrate our TV networks with our online ad networks is that on the online side, the traffickers were obsessed with knowing whether each campaign worked or not. Within hours of running, they were all talking about what creative works best, which ones should be discarded altogether, by how much they converted, etc., etc. Who knows? They may have been looking at the wrong thing, but they were looking. Compare that to what happened our television networks, where the traffickers were talking about whether the spot on 24 got preempted or not. Obviously, it was not their fault. But just because it's not easy to know whether a television campaign works or not, is not enough reason to not even try. And we, at the senior level, we shouldn't hide behind most of the effect is in the long term as an excuse not to know what the short term is. To sum it up, you often hear the view that online is so different from all other forms of media, pretty much none of what we learned over the last 50 years applies. I'm not disputing the first part of that sentence, but I'm saying that online and TV have a lot to learn from each other, in part because they have a lot in common already. First of all, the power to sell in the short term and build brands in the long term. Of course we know it's 2009 and without a short term there's no long term to think of. Of course we know that building brand is not an end in itself. It's a way of increasing your franchise and getting people to pay more for your product than they would pay for a non-brand. So here's my proposal for a stimulus package for the online, for the advertising industry. How about if instead of battling with each other, television and online display work together both at the media owner level and the agency level and use their status as measurable, results-driven media both in the short term and the long term to compete with other forms of marketing dollars such as trade promotion or search, which don't build brands. At Fox International Channels, we're ready to take the challenge and prove our own ROI, and thank you so much for listening to my presentation.